Good morning, CLC. At this moment, in this time, I invite each and every one of you to just love yourself, just a little bit extra. If you feel so inclined, go ahead and take a nice, deep, cleansing breath in, breathing in the cool, calming oxygen. And as you release the breath, release all that no longer serves you. Allow images of the past or images of your future to just wash away for now. And if you feel so inclined, go ahead and take another nice, deep, cleansing breath in, breathing in life and love and energy. And as you release this breath, allow your body to just relax in this moment. And allow your mind to be here now. Universal love enfolds me. Universal wisdom inspires me. Universal spirit enlightens me. Universal power encircles me. I am one, and all is well. As we begin this inner healing process, let me invite you to relax in quiet confidence, opening yourself up to this miracle-working higher power. Now symbolize the unity of your thinking and feeling nature by touching your chest with your hand, and let my words act as your own for your own inner healing, acceptance, and receptivity. I acknowledge that there is a power, intelligence, and wisdom greater than I am. I am in the midst of it, and it is in the midst of me, sensitive and responsive to my every thought, word, action, and feeling. I now make this true for myself by saying aloud, I acknowledge. Acknowledging this higher power working through my life, I admit that I am personally responsible for solving my own problems while being guided and assisted by something greater than myself. As I am ready to surrender the conflicts of my ego to the wisdom of this infinite presence, I simply speak these words. I surrender. Knowing that forgiveness is the key to unconditional love and the feeling of heaven, I now unconditionally forgive anyone and everyone who has ever injured me in any way, real or imagined. And I now forgive myself for all of my mistaken judgments and their resulting actions. From my deepest level of understanding, I now say, I forgive. Realizing that I continually experience the effects of my own thinking, I now choose to allow this higher power to recreate me deeply, filling my mind with thoughts that are only positive, constructive, loving, and beautiful. I call upon this divine inflow by stating aloud, I choose. I now center upon that one very special idea that I'm willing to accept as real for me in this coming week. Visualizing that idea as already acted upon and brought to pass. In seeing my idea become a fact of my experience, I enjoy the happiness and peace of my thought fulfilled and gratefully speak these words. I accept. Knowing that I have an everlasting place in the midst of the power that sustains all creation, as well as the support of all those around me. I allow myself to relax in the peace of fulfillment and gratitude and say, I release. Now, in my mind's eye, I envision the presence of someone near and dear to me. This could be a friend, a family member, a teacher or mentor, someone who has touched my life in deep and loving ways. Someone who may not be physically present in this room or even on this planet anymore. I turn to that image in my mind's eye and say, I'm grateful for the good in your life. Now I open my eyes, turn to the world around me, and joyfully speak to anyone physically present in this room or virtually on this broadcast, and share in confidence and gratitude in saying, I'm grateful for the good in your lives.
Well, I wish you had. This is kind of cool having this in front of me. I don't know, but I'd rather have my heart chakra exposed. I wish you a happy Thanksgiving, and by wish I mean I affirm and know for you a happy Thanksgiving, because wishing is kind of lame. Wishing is like, good luck, right? So what I know for you is that you have exactly the kind of Thanksgiving you want to have. Because there's no one way to do Thanksgiving. There's no one way to do really anything, but especially socially speaking, holidays. Because we have this image that you get together with lots of people and you eat way too much food and there's football involved and this. And some people like to just sit quietly at home, watch old movies, read a book, and then never forget, some people work. Some people work. I come down here on Christmas Eve for our candlelight service, which I hope you'll join us at. That's a bit down the road, but it's not too early to start talking about Christmas, is it? Because in the culture we start around Labor Day. But so I come down here on Christmas Eve for the candlelight service, and I pass office buildings with lights in the windows, and those are people cleaning. Those are people working behind the scenes because they assume none of the office workers are there, and so it's a good time to give the place a deep clean. Never forget that every time we relax, every time we have a nice long nap, there's somebody who's got our back, who's out there in the world, who's doing something. They're stringing wire, they're repairing septic systems, they're doing something for us. And so I wish for you and know for you and affirm for you just exactly the kind of day and the kind of season that you want to have. What I want to talk a little bit about today is memory, because a season like this evokes all sorts of memories for us, and sometimes we pathologize memory. Reading Ernest Holmes, founder of religious science, he brings up again and again that you can heal the memory. You can heal the memory. If you have disturbing images in the memory, you can do something. Well, that's true. You can, but not all images in the memory are disturbing. A lot of the memories that we have are sweet and beautiful and benign. And we want to know how to maintain them. We want to know how to nourish them. This is a time of the ancestors. Not just Memorial Day and not just Day of the Dead, but this is a time, these seasons of gatherings and occasions and so on. And every day is somebody's birthday, and every day is an anniversary of something, you know, and we want to remember this, and we want to honor this in our hearts. Keep the memory alive and build new memories. Build new memories. So that when we're alone, we can call together this population in consciousness to surround us and love on us, you know? And so we can more greatly understand the experience that other people are having as well when people are lonely. Sometimes people will be alone. I was reading something. A woman went into a restaurant and was sitting there eating by herself, and a younger person came up to her and said, "You look so lonely." And she thought to herself, "Get lost." Isn't that great? I'm not lonely. I'm alone. I'm fine. I'm having a meal. And who are you anyway? And then she thought, no, I'm being kind of hard. And she was gracious to the guy. You know, this is all going on in her head, right? But she thought, all right, well, his intent was passive and healing, and he was trying to be nice and do the right thing, you know. But don't assume that everyone who's alone is lonely. So you come to understand, oh, okay, well, just because you're by yourself, you may not be lonely, because you know why? There are times when I'm by myself when I'm not lonely. You see, this is how we come to more greatly understand other people's experiences, when we more deeply explore our own. It's why we do this metaphysical work. And sometimes people will say, well, you know, you people in religious science, you're all so self-centered. You're all about your own process and your own thoughts and feelings and all this kind of thing. Well, the upshot of that is that you can more greatly understand and relate to and feel compassionate about other people's experience when you know what makes you tick, when you know what your issues are, how your buttons get pushed, and so on. So we come to understand, first of all, that we have this unbroken chain of I want to hear that song, too. We have this unbroken chain of experience going back, well, our entire life here, and some would say further back than that, too. If you believe in past lives and all that sort of thing, then it goes on who knows how long. But certainly while you've been here, and you've had people come and go out of your life, and your parents may not be on the planet anymore, and their parents probably not, and their parents almost certainly not, unless you're, 6. But other people have stepped up, haven't they? To mother you and father you and aunt and uncle you and cousin you and so on. Other people keep coming into your life. You're never too old to make friends. You're never too old to connect with a new community. And it's amazing to see what this community is doing here at Creative Life, because while we don't have a whale of a lot of people in the room, but I never want to not acknowledge those of you who are here. I hate it when people do that. Well, nobody came today, and it's like, what? I'm here. Thank you for being here in the room, and thank you for watching at home. And it's just amazing how many people consider this their spiritual center who we've never met. And it's a long shot. We don't know when we will. Let's put it that way, because they're all over the map. But they come to this place and they feel a sense of community here, because we're filling a need, not just with the message, not just with the metaphysics, but with the love, with the spirit. We see you, we feel you, we hear you, we know your struggles. We can imagine what your struggles are, because they are our struggles too. And we can imagine what your victories are, because they're our victories too. And so we grow in this understanding and this compassion of the human family. And all I'm saying is open up and soften up to that now at this wonderful season. And there's certain things you can do, and there's certain things I suggest you don't. Certain things I suggest you don't do. And this is going to sound like one of those listicles, that you read about. Here are the 10 things to really aggravate people at Thanksgiving or whatever, okay? Assuming that you have the kind of Thanksgiving where families getting together and all of this, and you're going to share food, what you don't want to do is go in there and say, so who'd you vote for? Because right there, all of a sudden, a cold chill comes over the room. People start stabbing angrily at their food. downcast eyes and all of this, and a lot of good feeling just leaks out. Something else you probably don't want to do is say, let me tell you about my religion. Same kind of thing. It creeps people out. They don't want to hear. It's also a way, we've talked about this before, but it's a way to open up the seat next to you on the airplane. Just bring that kind of thing up. Seriously, what do you want to do? You know what you have with your family that you don't have with anybody else? Shared experience. Shared experience. I was talking with Danielle right before the service, and we brought up, you remember when, and what I flashed on in the conversation we were having, I flashed on the Heartfelt Living class that she was in when she first came to us, which was one of many Heartfelt Living classes over the years, and it took place up in Catherine Hall across the way there, you know. And there's this shared experience, and she remembers who was in that class with her. And she remembers who was in other classes with her, and those people remember who. And there's stuff that happens in each of these classes, each meeting, each group that doesn't happen anywhere else, you know, that somebody has a life experience and they share it, and it's imprinted on memory. It's a shared experience. We've had a lot of events here over the last almost 40 years that we've been together, you know. And some of them have been really serious and profound, and some of them have been just incredibly silly, the things that have gone on here. But they're all part of, right, the record. They speak of the Akashic records. You know who talked about the Akashic records? This might floor some people. Ernest Holmes. What do you know? Okay, he didn't buy in 100%, but he brought them up. He'd heard of them, you know, and he thought it was kind of an interesting idea. And he said, well, there's this record in memory, in collective memory, of everything that's ever been done. So I thought, let me see exactly what he had to say and bring it to you, instead of doing what I usually do, which is winging it. And then you guys find it online, and I've left a whole bunch out. He says, the soul, being the seat of memory, already contains a record of everything that has ever happened to us. These memories as a whole constitute the subjective tendency of the individual life. This tendency can be changed through constant effort and a determined persistency of purpose. The soul life of all people merges more or less, and this creates the soul life, the collective subjectivity of all humanity, called by some the collective unconscious. You've heard that, right? That's Jung. This collective unconscious contains a record of all human events that have ever transpired. We are all more or less subject to this collective thought, since it acts as a powerful collective suggestion. The sum of all erroneous human belief binds us until the individual mentality lifts themselves above the law of averages into the higher law of spiritual individualism. Okay, let's break that down a little bit. So the soul being the seat of memory, the soul of you, the subjective nature of you, is the part of you that's immortal. Your body isn't. Your body falls off at a certain point. But the soul of you, the essence of you, continues on. And it carries this memory field with it, from life to life and place to place. And wherever we go from here, whether or not we come back to this earth is up for debate, but wherever we figure we live on forever, we're immortal in some form or another, and that's at the soul level. And there's a record of everything that you've ever done, ever felt, ever thought, and it's impressed upon this subjective field within the self. And what you'll notice from time to time is that memories surface that you haven't had before, you don't remember having had before. People can prompt this in conversation with you. You can read a book, you can hear a song, something like that, and it stimulates something. And you go, oh, yeah. And you get the faraway look, and you go, oh, yeah, that's right. I remember that summer now when we did this and this, but there'd been a piece missing for me between this and this, and why did we go there, or why did this happen? And all of a sudden, pieces fall into place, and that's recovered memory from the past. But it doesn't stop there. The memories that you have about your life and your family has about its life merge with the memories of your neighbors on the block and the rest of the town, and on and on and on, all impressions go into this one big collective place, this one big hat kind of that they're all thrown into, and they're all in there. They're all in there, wrapped in feeling. He uses this, Holmes does, to explain the experience of the feeling of deja vu. And there's sometimes you just can't explain it. But he said, so you're driving down a street and you see a house or something, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, I've been here before. He said, maybe you have. Maybe you have. But if you haven't, somebody has. And you're picking up on their vibe. You're picking up on their thread in the subjective thought atmosphere. That makes a lot of sense. And so you fall into this. I got a real wild feeling about Leonardo da Vinci a few years ago. Some of you may remember we did a series on Da Vinci. It was the 500th or something anniversary of his birth or death or whatever. And we did a series on Sunday and Wednesday night also on Da Vinci, the creative genius, and how you can find this within yourself. And there's a Ken Burns documentary on him that I just missed it, but you can recap. It's on PBS, and I'm planning to watch it this week. A two-part thing about Da Vinci. Well, Da Vinci, you can say what you will about, he's a genius in this and all these different fields and stuff, but there's something about him that just really grabs me, and I don't know what it is. So if I wanted to take the short course, you see, I'd say, what? I was Da Vinci. How about that? The rest of you were farmers or something, but I was Da Vinci. Well, that's one way of looking at it, but I don't think so. I don't think so. Instead, there's something else about his life or work that has an answer in it for me. And so I want to know more about that. It's why we like the music we like and the art we like and the stuff that each of us are drawn to, and we share it with other people. We say, oh, you're going to love this. And sometimes they do and sometimes they don't, right? Because there's some thread of collective memory / intention that's running through all this body of information that's unique to each one of us. Now, he makes a point in here about the collective memory of all of us and how you can bat away certain parts of it that you don't wish to experience. We have choice in this. We don't have to just take what's given. If we had to take what was given, we wouldn't have agency, we wouldn't be at choice, we wouldn't be co-creators with the infinite, we'd just be reactive. But instead we're proactive, instead we're generative of stuff, you see? So we can say, well, if a feeling comes over you and it's creepy and sad and mournful and heavy and all of this, what you can do, you don't want to just bat the thing away without interrogating it first. You want to talk to it and say, what do you have for me? What are you telling me? And if it's just a dark cloud that has no particular purpose for it, thank it and invite it to move on. And it can be as simple as that. I realize that there are levels of trauma that we go through and a depth of experiences that we have that may require the assistance of others as well. But the gist of the thing remains the same, that at some point in time we give up our story. We give up our attachment to what doesn't work and never has, and we honor it for what it is, and we begin to move on. The people, for example, that we mourn in our lives want us to get on with our lives. I remember when my mother passed, I was a wreck. I was a wreck. It happened quickly, and it was way young for her, and young for me, obviously. And I couldn't work, I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't do anything else. And at some point in time, I got the idea, and I've since said to myself it was from her, but I don't know where I got it. It could have been from Ernest Holmes for that matter. But I got the idea. She doesn't want you to go on like this. How is this honoring her memory to continue being a wreck? It's been months now. Pull it together. Get back to work. You don't want to say this to somebody else. You understand that. You never want to go up to somebody and say, pull it together and get back to work. That's rude and intrusive, and it's a lot of things, and I don't need to tell you that. I mean, you're grown-ups, but you can say it to yourself. you can say to yourself that it's time to move on in some new direction, and it's time to, well, figure out what you're going to do with the rest of your life. So we have this collective thought atmosphere in which we live. It's got all these different sensations and memories to it, and we begin to work with it, and we begin to choose from it what we're going to pull down. So you can have a vicarious experience if you want. If there's a party going on somewhere, and there's an invitation for you. The party could be in spirit, might not actually be at somebody's home, but you can feel yourself to be loved. You can pull down the feeling around you. What if you had a whole community of people around you on Thursday that care about you and are glad to see you, and there are fun things for you to do? And you know what will happen? This won't just be some exercise in sad self-delusion. You can begin to magnetize to yourself that kind of community. You can begin to draw to yourself that kind of experience. That's how prayer works. That's what I was talking about 2-3 weeks ago, about the inner mechanics of prayer. Prayer isn't just it's not a message in a bottle, man. It's not this thing of like, God, please, if you're out there someplace, help me. Okay, I'll sit here till you do. No, it's active and dynamic, and you begin to create a thought atmosphere that's magnetic. And experiences that conform to that thought atmosphere begin to find you, begin to move into your life. And so this is how we work with the subjective thought atmosphere. And here's what else happens, is that we change it collectively. A rising tide lifts all boats. We change the vibe. We change the energy in the world. There's all kinds of lamentations going on right now about how fractured we are as a society, how everybody's at each other's throats over politics and all of the rest of this. And if we want to heal that, metaphysics suggests this radical idea that's so simple, people laugh at it. People laugh at it. They say, that's so simple, that's ridiculous, that would never work. And the fact of the matter is, it's the only thing that ever has. It's always worked, and that is to create in mind and heart the image of the kind of world, not that we have, that we want to have, that we want to experience. How would it be if everybody got along? How would it be if everybody told the truth to each other? How would it be if everybody were gracious and kind and so on to each other? Okay, that's step one, is imagining that. Step two is acting like it today. Not waiting for the right people to show up to have that experience with, the people who agree with you, but working with the people who are at hand. And so we begin to put a new energy into the collective thought atmosphere, and it catches on. It catches on, and people want that. And I will go to my grave believing that people really, deep down inside, all want to be happy, and they want other people to be happy. If for no other reason, that then they don't have to worry so hard about everyone else and who they care about. But really for better reasons, and deeper reasons than that. People want other people to be happy so that they can enjoy watching them be happy and enjoy watching them create. People want other people to be supplied. There's nothing sadder than an artist with no brush, the musician with no guitar. It's like, here, have something so that you can do something with the gifts that you have. This is what we want. And as we affirm and know that this is so, again, we begin to act like it. We begin to change something in the world. So what I invite all of us to do is enter into the idea that your subconscious, your subjective mind is your friend. The subjective that takes the thought atmosphere of everything that's ever been is basically positive. When I came into religious science, they taught it differently than that. They said, well, there's crime and poverty and misery and disease and hunger and loss and lack and death and all of this in the subconscious mind, the collective one, And so you want to keep all of that stuff away from you. It was pretty depressing. I hadn't really ever thought of it that way, But where else would it be? But what they didn't say, I don't know why. So I started saying it instead, is that in that same mind is beauty, love, poetry, romance, art, music, sunrises, sunsets, holidays, spiritual centers, puppies, kitties, whatever. All of the things that are beautiful and wonderful. And you know what? That stuff's winning. That stuff's in the majority of psychic weight within this one mind. How do we know that? We'd go poof if it weren't. We'd never made it this far. We'd just evaporate into thin air. But instead, here we are. We get up and it's another day, and we've got choices, and we've got challenges, and we've got love in our hearts, and we've got people in our lives, you know. So realize, I guess, this, that you're in constant communication, uploading and downloading, and your upload and download speeds are the same. Your bandwidth is enough. Did I ever think? No. But we got into this thing talking about the Wi-Fi here at the center, is that most people want big download speeds, gamers and stuff, you know, because they're pulling things down off the internet. But with the broadcast, we need big upload speeds too, because we're creating more content than we're sucking down out of cyberspace. So just know that it's a wonderful metaphor, as all things are, but the computer world is a especially precise metaphor for what happens in consciousness. We're uploading our thoughts and feelings into the collective mind, and we're downloading from that what we experience, and we have a choice there, just like your search engine has parameters to it, it has algorithms to it. You know, you're deciding what to choose. You don't have to take potluck. You take what you want. You take what you want to feel and how you want to feel, and you pull that down, and you make it real for yourself. And a technique that we have for doing that here, a form of prayer called spiritual mind treatment, goes something like this. There is one life, one power, one presence, pure spirit, everywhere radiant, everywhere manifesting. It made this beautiful day. It made this cool snap that blew through our area. It made the sweet, warm winds that blow today. It made this holiday week ahead and the season that follows, and all the memories and sensations that accompany this. Smells of food and sounds of music, and especially the sounds of voices. Voices in other rooms, voices from long ago, conversations had. Think about your family before you were born. Think about your family before your parents were born, and the conversations that were had, and the choices that were made, and where shall we live, and where will we work, and how will we praise God. And realize that all these conversations are still happening on some level. No voice is ever silenced, it just changes frequency. Just like the radio stations you're not listening to right now. It's all happening somewhere, somehow. It's all contained within one vast, incomprehensible system. And yet, the fruits of all of that present themselves daily, moment by moment, in you and me. And so we go forward now into this time, wide open at the heart level, to let it be what it is, to learn about ourselves, to grow, and to be agents of healing. And for this knowing and its manifestation in form everywhere we turn, I am so deeply grateful. I release this word now into the infinite, calling it done, and so it is.
I'm going to read a passage from Chronicles. Now thank we all our God with hearts and hands and voices, who wondrous things hath done, in whom his world rejoices, who from our mother's arms hath blessed us on our way with countless gifts of love, and still is ours today. Oh, may this bounteous God through all our life be near us. With ever joyful hearts and blessed peace to cheer us, and keep us in his grace and guide us when perplexed, and free us from all ills in this world and the next. And with guitar we praise, and thanks to God the Father now be given, the Son, the Spirit, him who reigns with them in the highest heaven, the one eternal God, Spirit, whom earth and heaven adore, for thus it was, is now, and shall be evermore. Amen.
I think for now this, on January 13th, which is a Monday night, I'm starting a 10-week course on Zoom called From Whence We Came. It's a history of new thought. Love to have you join us. Information on this is in the weekly email, and you'll be getting more information coming to you about it, just as you will be getting a special pitch to donate money to Creative Life. You know how it's Giving Tuesday, well, we have I think it's Giving Thursday that we do here, and you'll get an email, and it's about supporting the center with a year-end donation, if you possibly can. Also, we have information about how to include us in your wills and trusts and other forms of giving, because it takes some money to keep the engines of this place going, and we're the ones who provide it. We receive no funding from outside sources, except that's a lie, because we just got actually a $2,000 grant. Isn't that awesome? We got a $2,000 grant specifically for tech devices. So we're going to be upgrading the cameras and things that we use here on Sundays. Thanks to the Hefferland Foundation for that. So, and Reverend Katie Roxburgatti, who set the whole thing up. Hello, Katie. She's out there watching in the Zoom room. So we come to giving time, inevitably. It is a time to take our gift in hand and say together now, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive. I am prosperous now, and so it is. All right.
And then my last responsibility is to take a deep breath. Because, yeah, as Jesse was talking, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, okay, the reason that I was not here last week is because I was in Virginia to attend a funeral of one of my cousins. And so Jesse's talking, and all of a sudden I'm like, I'm not ready for this, and I'm starting to cry. So, but it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Tears are, honestly, if you can let yourself cry, tears are a sign of strength. They're also full of hormones and very healing as well. And it was amazing to be with my family, even if we were there for a sad reason. And it's so important to be with people. He talked about shared experiences, and that's what that was. We were with two families that had one shared experience, and then we got to make a whole bunch of new shared experiences together that were amazing. And that's what I want you to invite you to contemplate in this holiday week, is you're going to be with a bunch of people that you have shared experiences with. And some of them are preferred and some of them are not preferred, but you can make new ones. And so I invite you and encourage you to make new shared experience memories with the people that love you, even while they're driving you crazy. I was in a hotel room with my mother and my aunt for 4 days. It was fun. So I invite you to step into the sacred with me right now. It's all sacred all the time. But there are times that we need to bring that sacredness forward consciously. To remember that there is one life, that each and every one of us live that life, that there is one power, and that we are conduits for that power, that there is one presence, that we are that presence, and that there is one love. And that is what we are built from, and most importantly, built for. That we are love emotion. And when we remember that we are love, amazing things happen. So I'm knowing as we walk into this and through this holiday week, that we build shared memories with our loved ones, that we bring to the surface those amazing memories that keep us together, that we hold each other in that divine love, that we look in each other's eyes and see that divine looking back at us, to see that beautiful soul clothed in that body. And to remember, when that uncle makes that joke, it comes from a place of love. And I know this with the depth of my being and all of the gratitude therein. And I am grateful for a teaching that teaches me who I am and a community that comes together to remind each other of that fact. I am grateful for our musicians, our ministers, our practitioners, for each and every one of you, for the technology that allows us to send this out across the ethers. And I am grateful because it's just another way to love. And I relax into this knowing, calling it done, knowing it is so, and so it is.
Say with me now, something wonderful is happening through me.
Something wonderful is happening through me.
I feel it in my body.
I feel it in my body.
I feel it in my mind.
I feel it in my mind.
I feel it in everything I am.
I feel it in everything I am.
I choose it. I trust it.
I trust it.
I use it.
I use
And
it.
I love it.
I
And
love
so it is.
So it is.